The trips to England, what were those like?
Oh, that was a lot of fun back in those days before the Japanese started invading England, and
they were doing the same
taking
thing.
all the in the late 80s they started coming in and carting away all the rare stuff. So, they had more dollars to spend at that point in time.
But
there was a period of time when the pound when we started going over there in 1979, that's when Howie and I made our first trip over there.
Yeah.
The pound was at like $2.75, $2.85 to $1.
Mm-hmm.
And got to a point in time over the next few years where they suddenly started getting even. There was one point when the dollar and the pound were only like 15, 20 cents apart. And I said, well, when it gets to $1 per pound, I'm going to move over there and just send stuff back. But it started going back up again after that.
You had a fun time over there, too.
Oh, yeah. We usually go over there for a week and go to all the shops on Portobello Road. We found a lot of guys who had promo 45, so they just had, like my store, they had mounds of thousands and thousands of
you were just
45s.
It was just picking the stock that for them may have been common, but you knew you could bring it back here and there was something going on.
Yeah, I mean, we'd go to some stalls on Portobello Road, find damned 45s and Generation X 45s for 50p a piece. And
you weren't connecting with the labels at all for anything?
Oh, no. It's the only label we ever connected with was Stiff Records. There was a gentleman named Nigel Dick who was in the publicity office there who we became good friends with, and I subsequently put out a record by his band on Olymp International Records, Stiff All Stars. And he is now one of the most foremost video producers in the world. But he's based out in California now. But he was the only person we really had a connection with. Him and another guy who worked at Stiff, Andy Murray, who's the brother of Neil Murray from Whitesnake.
Gotcha.
He was in the press office with Stiff as well, and they were in both the Stiff All Stars. And we put out that record by them.
What was Olymp International specifically?
It was just for that one record. It was
okay.
It was actually funded by both me and Howie because we both knew him. So,
how many copies did you move on that?
Most of them, Nigel has bought back from me to give to friends of his. We didn't really sell any of it. I think we probably made 1,000.
What was the best seller ever on Olymp?
Well, the Raz 45s, which I did, they were on O'Rourke Limp Records. They did their first record, See Redo, by themselves on O'Rourke, and then I did the Airtime EP, which I edited as well from a radio concert that they did, opening up for Rockpile. I edited that down, and we did 3 pressings of that. And then the You Can Run 45, which is a studio 45, was after that. There were only 1,000 made of that, and they all sold out, but the only one I still have any copies of is Airtime.
So, you were in full swing in the mid-'80s. I mean, you had like the Damned in there for an autograph sign, and who else was coming through the store in terms of
Peter Buck was there
celebs.
A number of occasions when REM would be through town. He loved shopping there. Paul Weller was there with every single group he was ever in. He was there as a member of the Jam. He was there as a member of Style Council. He was a member as a solo artist there. He usually bought soul 45s. He was very much into buying obscure American soul 45s.
Gotcha.
Trying to find those rare things that you could sell on eBay for
which are now going for
hundreds
of dollars.
No,
Some of them probably are.
I'm just referencing your activities.
Yeah.
But in terms of some of the rarest Olymp 45s, one that was put out on my label because they were friends with Ted Nicely was a band called the Killer Bees, which goes for hundreds of dollars now. And I had nothing to do with the record. I hated the record. And I have the master tapes upstairs, but I let them use my name and put it out. And also I did the same thing with the second Africa Core album, which was just under the name of the Core, Hello World. They used the Olymp label and put it on blue vinyl. It has now, yeah. But I think they only made 500 of that. But again, I had nothing to do with it other than letting them use my name.
And
that was simply to try and get the distributors and labels to, pay up for, because we had some kind of name at that point in time, and if they were just putting it out themselves, they wouldn't have gotten paid.
What finally closed down Y&T?
The store or the label?
Yeah, what was the consideration that finally you were like, I'm done retailing?
Well, we had started doing eBay, and I had developed epilepsy, and the scene was changing dramatically. There were a lot of other people competing at that point in time, and it just felt after 9/11 that I just didn't want to do it anymore from a retail standpoint. My landlord wanted to raise my rent up like almost double what it was, and I had a choice of doing the internet business, which was going good at that time. The record labels were still releasing a lot of 45s, which is what I specialized in, and I just said it was time to go.
Yeah.
25 years was long enough, quarter of a century.
Yeah.
I had made my mark, and the store was known worldwide. Had I known that the record companies were going to stop putting out 45s, and that 10 years down the line there would be a big revival in vinyl because the kids would all get into it, I maybe would have thought differently at that point in time. But there would definitely have been some lean years between then and now.
Oh yeah, and with the,
as there are anyway.
With the economy right now, anyways.
Yeah.
If the economy picks back up considerably, and everything goes good with all your health issues, could you see yourself doing another retail, or it's going to be record shows?
I could never. I do not have the strength or energy to do that with the numerous health issues I have. It just would be impossible to run a store and not know if you're going to keel over 1 minute and have nobody around to pick you up.
Right, right. So the production work that you've done, you worked with Pentagram, you worked with Minor Threat, you did the SOA EP. What else? Who else were you in this?
Youth Brigade, the Velvet Monkeys, who I said originally started out as Citizen 23.
Mm-hmm.
And
did you work with them? They were Citizen 23 also.
Well, we recorded the album, the album tracks for they ended up on Connected as Citizen 23. Okay. They ended up changing the name to Velvet Monkeys by the time the record was released. So it's released in the name of Velvet Monkeys. And of course, Don Fleming has gone on to become quite a notable figure in the record industry.
I think they were on the No Place to Dance, if you know that album by any chance, a Tidewater alternative album.
I've heard of them, but they were based in a college down in
Williamsburg,
William and Mary, I think.
So that's where they're, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they were sort of circulating in that area.
But that would have been probably as the name of Citizen 23.
Yeah. Anyone else that we're missing that you had worked with?
Well, I produced Black Market Baby Potential Suicide 45, which was one of the last releases on Limp, and that ended up getting on a Rhino compilation, one of their punk compilations.
Did Rhino talk to you or the band about that, or just showed up one day?
No, they had to get the tape from me. They talked to the band and got permission for it, but this guy named Jeff Weiss, who was based out of Massachusetts, who was a collector and had a fanzine but ended up working for record companies as well. He pushed Rhino to put that track on there because he thought it was one of the great top 40 sounding punk records. I've never liked it as much as the band has. I thought I could have done a better job on it. I don't like the way the drums sound on it, but if you listen to the drums on that versus Tommy Carr's drums on the Penetrators cuts, which I didn't do, they had a much better drum sound on there. But
the Black Market Baby stuff got picked up by Bitscore at one point. I'm
not sure how legal that was.
Oh, okay. So you weren't involved in that?
No. I've never owned anything that I did. Anything I never got paid for anything I did.
Yeah.
Anything I ever produced was just for the band's benefit. I never took any money for any of that.
Yeah. Did you always have the band foot in the bill to go in the studio? Or did you
I did that. Well, as it was a demo session where they just wanted to see how they sounded.
Did you ever have a home studio of your own?
No.
So if you were
too full of records.
Is there anyone you'd like to produce these days, locally or otherwise? Just if you could, just.
No, this group that I produced back in the 79-80 period of time, the group called The Dark. I put an EP out by them and then produced a couple cuts that ended up on the Connected sampler album. Meredith Reynolds from that band, Meredith Hardy. She had several different names, but she was an incredible singer. She was doing what Tori Amos was doing many years later, but before her, and she had an ethereal quality to her voice. I always wanted to do something with her. She had home demos that she did on her own in her own studio, and I still listen to them today. They're as vital as they ever were. Did
you ever follow the DC, like some of the other stuff that was going on in DC, like the soul or the go-go stuff? I mean, were you collecting it? Were you retailing much of it?
No, we never. There were places like Soul Shack and the downtown stores like Olson's and Viscount, Discount, whatever was down there at that point in time. It was not really our market. No, I never. It's not. My idea of songs are things that have lyrics and melody.
Yeah. Go-go hence isn't going to really.
Well, I've never danced in my life, so it has no meaning or correlation with me.